The council chamber was huge. It stretched in every direction, with walls made of crystal that glowed with soft light. Jack Morrison stood in the middle of the room, his hands behind his back. He was calm, even though 73 different alien species were staring at him. High Chancellor Vexthar was the leader of the Zorathian Empire. He looked like a giant insect with 6 eyes. All of those eyes were focused on Jack, right now. The alien's mouth parts clicked together as he prepared to speak. "The human race has broken our laws," Vexthar announced. His voice came through a translator device. "You have built colonies on 14 planets without asking permission. You have refused to give us your genetic information. You have ignored the rules that every civilized species follows." Jack listened, but said nothing. Around him, other aliens whispered to each other. They seemed excited about what was happening. "Your military ships have entered forbidden areas," Vexthar continued. "You refuse to get rid of your weapons. This is dangerous to everyone in the galaxy." "We never agreed to get rid of our weapons," Jack said quietly. The room exploded with shocked sounds. One alien, who lived in a water tank, spoke up. "Everyone who learns to travel faster than light must sign the peace agreement. That is how we stay safe." Jack shrugged. "Nobody asked us to sign anything. We just built our ships and left Earth. We did not know about your rules." Vexthar's mouthparts snapped shut with a loud crack. "You are very arrogant, human. We have been patient with your kind. We let you survive even though you come from a dangerous planet. We ignored your aggressive behavior. We even accepted that you eat other living things." "You mean we eat food?" Jack asked, raising one eyebrow. "That ends today," Vexthar declared. "The Galactic Empire now declares war on humanity. You have 26 hours to leave all disputed territories and submit to our authority. If you refuse, we will destroy your home planet and all your colonies." Everything went silent. Every being in the room understood how serious this was. The Zorathian Empire controlled most of the galaxy. They had hundreds of thousands of ships. They had never lost a war. Jack looked up at the High Chancellor. Then he did something nobody expected. He smiled. It was not a friendly smile. It was the kind of smile that showed teeth. It was the smile of a predator. Several aliens moved away from him instinctively. "Is something funny, Ambassador?" Vexthar demanded. "You are," Jack replied. "I came here with 2 sets of orders. The first was to negotiate peacefully, to be nice and reasonable, to show that humans are civilized." He paused. His smile got wider. "The second set of orders only applied if you declared war. Those orders were much simpler." Jack reached into his jacket and pulled out a small data chip. He tossed it onto the floor, where it bounced and spun. "That contains the locations of every Zorathian military base, supply depot, and shipyard in this sector. We have known where they are for 6 months." The room erupted into chaos. "Impossible," Vexthar hissed. "Our security cannot be broken." "Your security assumed everyone thinks like you do," Jack said. "You assumed no one would be crazy enough to spy on you. You assumed that humans would follow your rules." He turned slowly to look at everyone in the room. "You all made the same mistake. You saw that humans come from a dangerous planet with high gravity and lots of radiation. You thought that made us stupid. Aggressive, yes. Dangerous, up close, sure, but not smart enough to beat you." He laughed. The sound made everyone uncomfortable. "You never wondered what it takes to survive on a death world. You never asked what kind of species reaches the top when everything on the planet is trying to kill them. You never thought that maybe we are good at war because we have been fighting since before we could talk." A voice spoke in Jack's ear through a hidden device. It was Admiral Kate Sullivan. "We are ready. Waiting for your signal. Wode. 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 Wode." Jack nodded slightly. "High Chancellor, you gave us 26 hours to surrender. I am going to give you 10 minutes to take back your declaration of war. You dare threaten the Empire? Vexthar stood up to his full height. I am not threatening, Jack said. I am offering you a way out. 10 minutes. After that, you will understand why every nation on Earth that declared war on other humans learned to regret it. The countdown started. 9 minutes passed in tense silence. The aliens whispered among themselves. Some looked scared. Others looked angry. Jack just stood there, calm and still. When the 10 minutes ended, Vexthar spoke. Your time is up, human. We do not negotiate with primitives. I tried, Jack said with a sigh. Kate, execute Mongoose. Far away, in deep space, things started to happen. Human ships that had been hiding suddenly appeared. They had been waiting, invisible and silent, for this exact moment. What have you done? Vexthar demanded. I kept my promise, Jack said. You declared war on humanity. Now you get to see what that actually means. On screens around the galaxy, news started to spread. Zorathian military bases were going dark. Supply depots were exploding. Shipyards were being destroyed. All at the same time. All perfectly coordinated. This is impossible. Vexthar whispered. No species could coordinate such an attack. No species you know, Jack corrected. But humans are not like the species you know. We have been fighting wars for 10,000 years. We have studied every kind of combat. We have learned from every victory and every defeat. And we have been planning for this moment since the day we first detected your empire. He walked toward the exit, his security team falling in around him. You wanted war, Chancellor. Now you have it. Good luck. The Zorathian war fleet was massive. 3,000 ships floated in space near a star called Kepler 442. Each ship was bigger than anything humans had ever built. They were arranged in perfect patterns that showed how organized and experienced the Zorathian military was. Commander Zarkoth stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Inevitable Conquest. This ship alone could destroy an entire continent. Around it, carriers were launching thousands of fighter ships. They moved in beautiful formations across the darkness of space. What is happening with the human colonies? Zarkoth asked. Our sensors show very little activity, his officer reported. 3 civilian stations orbit the planet. We detect no military ships. They have run away, Zarkoth said with satisfaction. The humans have learned to be afraid. Commander, we are getting a message from the planet. Show me. The screen changed to show a woman in a simple military uniform. Her name tag identified her as Captain Lisa Warren. She sat in a basic office with a window showing the planet behind her. Commander Zarkoth, I assume, Lisa said. Captain Warren, I hope you received our surrender terms. I did, and I am calling to make you a different offer. Zarkoth made a sound that his translator turned into laughter. You cannot negotiate. Leave the planet in 3 hours, or we will attack from orbit. That is where you are making a mistake, Lisa replied. She leaned back in her chair. You think 3,000 ships is overwhelming? Against any other species? You would be right. But you are not fighting any other species. Your confidence is noted. However, we know that humans have fewer than 400 military ships. Most of them are old and barely functional. Your information is 6 months old, Lisa said. We have been busy. Suddenly, alarms started going off on Zarkoth's ship. Commander, we are detecting spatial anomalies. Multiple ships appearing from faster-than-light travel. Distance, 200,000 kilometers, and closing. The tactical display lit up with new contacts. 100. 200. 500. The numbers kept climbing. That cannot be, Zarkoth breathed. On the screen, Lisa smiled. Commander, meet the Terran Defense Fleet. All 8,000 ships. The human ships appeared from nowhere with incredible precision. They did not arrange themselves in neat patterns like the Zorathians. They moved like wolves, circling prey. Each ship covered the others. Their weapons overlapped. They kept moving constantly. 8,000? Zarkoth's voice shook. That is impossible. Building that many ships would take decades. You really do not understand humans, do you? Lisa said. When we are threatened, we do not talk. We build. Every human colony, every space station, every mining operation has been working triple shifts for 6 months. We converted civilian factories to military production. We used resources we had been storing since we first found your empire. We have been preparing for this since before we left Earth. More human ships kept appearing. Battleships covered with weapons. Carriers launching swarms of fighters. Destroyers moving in groups. And something else. Something the Zorathian sensors could barely detect. What are those? Zarkoth pointed at strange ships that seemed to flicker in and out of sight. Those? Lisa's smile got bigger. We call them ghosts. Stealth ships. Each one carries enough nuclear weapons to crack a moon. They have been sitting inside your formation for 20 minutes. Every alarm on the inevitable conquest started screaming at once. She is lying, the tactical officer insisted. They could not get past our sensors. Should I prove it? Lisa asked. Ghost. 7. Light up. One of the Zorathian carriers suddenly had a targeting laser pointed at it from only 5 kilometers away. The invisible human ship had been sitting right next to it the whole time. That carrier could be destroyed before your shields even activated, Lisa said casually. And there are 47 more ghosts hiding among your ships. Want me to light up all of them? This is an act of war, Zarkoth shouted. No, Commander. You declared war. This is us responding. Now let me explain your options. Option 1. You withdraw your fleet, go home, and tell High Chancellor Vexthar that humans are not interested in joining his empire. Option 2. We show you what happens when you threaten a species that evolved on a planet where everything tried to kill them. The empire does not negotiate with inferiors. Lisa sighed. I was afraid you would say that. Mongoose. You are cleared to engage. Mongoose? Zarkoth repeated. What is Mongoose? The answer came as massive distortions appeared at the edge of the system. These were not the small ripples that normal ships made. These were tears in space itself. Through those tears came the human dreadnoughts. They were ugly by galactic standards. No elegant curves or artistic design. They looked like blocks of armor and weapons. Ships built by a species that cared about function, not beauty. Each one was twice the size of Zarkoth's flagship. Impossible, the commander whispered. Ships that large would need power systems beyond anything we have. We call them fusion breeder cores, Lisa explained. Turns out when your home planet has a molten core generating a magnetic field, you get good at nuclear physics. Each of those dreadnoughts has a power plant that would make your scientists cry. The human dreadnoughts opened fire. Zarkoth had seen space battles before. The Empire fought with precision. Carefully calculated shots. Energy weapons designed for efficiency. Shields calibrated for expected threats. The humans ignored all of that. Their weapons fired chunks of metal at incredible speeds. No elegant energy beams. Just raw mass, moving so fast that when it hit, it exploded like a nuclear bomb. The first volley hit a Zorathian battleship in the center. The kinetic energy turned the entire ship into expanding debris. Return fire. The Zorathian fleet responded perfectly. Their energy weapons shot out toward the human ships. The beams hit their targets. Then Zarkoth saw the damage reports. Minor hull damage. Some burned armor. But no critical hits. No destroyed ships. Their armor, the tactical officer reported with a shaking voice. It is not designed to resist energy. It is just thick. Incredibly thick. Our weapons are made to overwhelm shields and do precise damage. Theirs are made to absorb and survive. Of course, Lisa said from the screen. We come from a world with radiation protection, atmosphere, and an ozone layer, and we still get bombarded with enough radiation to kill most species. You think we do not know how to build things that last? The battle turned into a slaughter. The human ships moved with coordination that seemed impossible. They did not fight like separate vessels. They fought like one living thing. Each ship covered the others. Damaged ships rotated to the back, while fresh ones attacked. And they were learning. Zarkoth watched in horror as human tactics changed in real time. After the first exchange, they adjusted their approach to exploit weak spots in Zorathian firing angles. After the second, they started using destroyed ship debris as cover. By the third exchange, they were predicting Zorathian movements and setting traps. How are they adapting so fast? He demanded. Because we have been fighting each other for 10,000 years, Lisa answered. Humans, Commander. We have fought wars on every part of our world. We have developed thousands of tactics. We have studied every form of combat. And we are very good at learning from our enemies. An alarm blared. One of the ghost ships had fired nuclear torpedoes at point-blank range. The inevitable conquest's shields absorbed the blast, but the radiation overloaded half the sensors. All ships, retreat, Zarkoth ordered. You are retreating? Lisa asked. We just started. This engagement is tactically unsound. We will return with reinforcements. No, Lisa said simply. You will not. The human fleet shifted. Zarkoth saw the trap. The dreadnoughts blocked the main escape routes. The carriers had launched enough fighters to create a screen, and those ghost ships were everywhere, hidden and waiting. High Chancellor Vexthar watched the reports coming in from across the Empire. For the first time in 300 years of leadership, he felt afraid. The humans were not just defending themselves, they were hunting. Explain to me again, he demanded. How a species we met only 10 years ago has attacked 17 of our outposts at the same time. Administrator Kelmar was shaking as she presented her findings. Her species prided themselves on being logical and calm. Right now, she was neither. High Chancellor, we underestimated human deception. When we first met their exploration ship, we thought we saw their full technology. And we were wrong? Completely wrong. The ship they sent, the Spirit of Discovery, was a trick. They showed us what we expected to see. A barely functional vessel struggling through space. Meanwhile, they were secretly studying our entire empire. Vexthar's mouth parts ground together. How is that possible? Our counterintelligence is the best in the galaxy. It is the best for fighting galactic species, Kelmar replied. The humans used tactics we never anticipated. They did not use electronic spying that we could detect. They used actual people. Spies? In our facilities? Not exactly. They created fake identities for members of other species. These people appeared to be legitimate refugees, traders, or workers. This allowed actual humans to move through our territory disguised as other aliens. Our security never thought to do deep genetic testing on every civilian. 1. Because no species has ever been insane enough to surgically alter themselves to look like different species. Vexthar roared. Apparently, humans consider such changes to be minor medical procedures. They have been modifying their own biology for decades. Adding cosmetic changes to look like a Delphinian or Trexian was considered routine. A new alert appeared. Another outpost had gone dark. This one in the Helios sector. What happened? Vexthar demanded. Initial reports indicate an antimatter explosion. The entire installation is destroyed. How did they get an antimatter device through our security? The answer came from Fleet Coordinator Mexton, who had just arrived. They did not deliver it, High Chancellor. They tricked our own people into building it. Explain. The humans sent detailed technical specifications disguised as damaged data from a probe. Our scientists tried to decode what they thought was valuable information. They actually assembled the device following hidden instructions. By the time they realized what they had built, it was too late. Vexthar stared at his coordinator. You are telling me that humans used our own curiosity as a weapon? Yes, High Chancellor. And it gets worse. We have found similar data packages at 47 other research facilities. We are trying to remove them now, but we may be too late. Before Vexithar could respond, Jack Morrison's face appeared on every screen in the command center. The human looked relaxed, for someone whose species was at war with the most powerful empire in the galaxy. Good evening, High Chancellor, Jack said. We should talk. How did you access this channel? Vexithar demanded. This is a secure military frequency. You need to update your encryption, Jack replied. We broke your codes 3 months ago. We have been listening to your communications the whole time. It has made the war much easier. This channel will be cut immediately. Go ahead. We will just break into the next one. Vexithar. We need to discuss terms. The Empire does not surrender. I am not offering to surrender, Jack said, his expression hardened. I am giving you one last chance to surrender to us. The command center fell silent. The idea of the Zorathian Empire, surrendering, was unthinkable. You are outnumbered 1,000 to 1, Vexithar said. You control maybe 3 dozen star systems. We control thousands. Your confidence will not save you. Let me show you something, Jack said. The display changed to show a star map. These red markers represent Zorathian military installations that failed in the last 6 hours. Count them. Vexithar's eyes widened as the numbers climbed. 40, 60, 100. We are not fighting a war of occupation, Jack continued. We are fighting a war of disruption. Every shipyard you have is now suspect. Every supply depot could have a bomb. Every research facility might be working on something that will destroy them. You cannot trust your own systems anymore. We will find your saboteurs. Will you, Admiral Greg Palmer, introduce yourself? The image split. A man in a Zorathian military uniform appeared next to Jack. The uniform showed the rank of a sector commander, a position reserved for the Empire's most trusted officers. Hello, High Chancellor, the man said in perfect Zorathian. I have been serving in your fleet for 2 years. I attended your strategy meetings. I reviewed your defense plans. And I sent every piece of information back to Earth. Impossible, Vexithar breathed. Would they? Greg smiled and peeled back part of his skin, showing engineered tissue beneath. Human medical technology is more advanced than you know. We learned how to modify our own biology long ago. We had to. Our planet kept trying to kill us with new diseases. We adapted. How many others? Vexithar asked quietly. Enough, Jack answered. High Chancellor, here is what will happen. You will order your fleets to stand down. You will withdraw from all contested areas, and you will recognize human control over our current territory and any future expansion we choose. And if I refuse, then we show you what total war looks like when fought by Deathworlders. Jack's expression turned cold. You declared war, expecting quick victory over a primitive species. What you got is a fight against humans. We do not do half measures. We do not believe in small responses. When you threaten us, we do not just defend. We destroy the threat so completely that no one else ever thinks to make the same mistake. A new alert appeared on Vexithar's display. A priority message from the Zorathian homeworld. You might want to read that, Jack suggested. Vexithar opened the message. His world collapsed. The message was from Planetary Defense Command. Human ships had appeared in orbit of Zorath Prime itself. Not an invasion fleet. Just one ship, a small vessel that seemed almost insignificant until it sent its message. This is Captain Danny Morris of the Terran vessel Silent Knife. We are currently in orbit above your capital city. We are armed with a relativistic kinetic weapon. If we release this weapon, it will hit your planet at 90% of light speed. The resulting impact will sterilize your homeworld. We do not want to fire, but we will, unless we receive confirmation of a complete ceasefire within 10 minutes. You are bluffing. Are we? Jack asked. Chancellor, We are the species that developed nuclear weapons and then used them on ourselves. We are the species that poisoned our own atmosphere and fought wars over the remaining resources. We nearly drove ourselves extinct half a dozen times before we even left our planet. Do you really want to bet your homeworld on us bluffing? Vexthar looked at the countdown. 8 minutes remaining. If I order a ceasefire, what guarantee do I have that you will not attack anyway? None, Jack said honestly. But I give you my word. Humans value honor, Chancellor. If you stand down, we stand down. We do not want to rule the galaxy. We just want to be left alone to expand and explore in peace. Give us that, and we give you something in return. What could you possibly offer the Empire? Alliance, Jack said. We may be aggressive, but we are not unreasonable. We have seen your star charts, Chancellor. We know there are threats out there that even the Zorathian Empire worries about. The Void Collective in the south. The machine intelligences in the Perseus arm. When those threats become active, you will want humans on your side, not fighting against you. 5 minutes remaining. Vexthar made his decision. All Imperial forces, this is High Chancellor Vexthar. Cease all attacks immediately. Fall back to defensive positions and wait for further orders. On the display, Jack nodded. Wise choice, Chancellor. Captain Morris, stand down. Do not fire. Understood, came the reply. Vexthar sagged in his seat. How did we lose to you? You did not lose to us, Jack said. You lost because you got arrogant. You assumed strength meant you were right. You assumed power meant you were superior, and you forgot the most important rule. Never underestimate someone who has nothing to lose. He paused. We came from a world that tried to kill us for millions of years. We survived ice ages and volcanoes. We survived predators that could tear us apart. We survived diseases that killed millions. We survived ourselves. And we did it without faster-than-light travel or energy shield. The negotiations took place on a neutral space station called Haven's Rest. It was run by the Delphinian Collective, one of the few powers that stayed neutral during the war. The station orbited a white dwarf star in unclaimed space. Its shining structure showed how skilled the Delphinans were at building things. Ambassador Jack Morrison walked through the hallways with his security team. 4 human soldiers moved with the easy confidence of trained fighters. Other alien groups gave them space. Word of human military power had spread across the galaxy faster than official news. They are afraid of us, observed Lieutenant Chris Donovan, one of Jack's guards. Good, Jack replied. Fear creates respect. Respect gives us room to negotiate. They entered the main meeting hall. It was a massive room with clear walls showing the stars beyond. Representatives from 40 different civilizations were already there, including High Chancellor Vexthar and his group. The Delphinian mediator, Ambassador Seltora, gestured for everyone to sit around the circular table. We gather here to discuss the future relationship between the Terran Confederacy and the Zorathian Empire, she began. Her voice had a musical quality. Let us begin by establishing the facts. The facts are simple, Vexthar said. Humanity has shown military capabilities far beyond what should be possible for their age. We want to understand how this happened. Vexthar, Jack leaned back in his chair. You want to know our secret? It is simple. We are paranoid. Paranoid? Repeated Ambassador Kildar, of the Vrexian Consortium. Absolutely. When we first developed radio and started listening to space, we heard nothing. Complete silence. That terrified us. We knew the galaxy should be full of life, but we could not find anyone. So, we developed theories. Maybe everyone was hiding. Maybe there was a reason to hide. Maybe something out there was hunting civilizations that made too much noise. The Dark Forest hypothesis, Seltora said. We know of human theoretical work. Right. So we decided that when we finally developed faster-than-light travel, we would do it quietly. We would explore carefully, and we would be ready for anything. Jack pulled up a holographic display showing Earth. This is our world. Notice anything unusual? Vexthar studied the image. Your planet has an unusually high amount of heavy metals. Your gravity is much higher than standard. Your atmosphere contains reactive oxygen that would poison most species. Now look at this. Jack expanded the display to show Earth's life. See those? Predators. Hundreds of thousands of species that evolved to hunt and kill. And in the middle of all that, you have humans. We are not the strongest species on our world. We are not the fastest. We are not the most poisonous or best camouflaged. But we are still the dominant species. Know why? Adaptability, suggested Ambassador Yor, mix of the Centauri Alliance. Partly. But more than that. Cooperation and innovation. Humans learned to work together to hunt prey that could kill us alone. We learned to make tools that made up for our physical weakness. We learned to plan, to strategize, to think ahead. And most importantly, we learned to teach. Every generation builds on the knowledge of the one before. Jack brought up another image showing human technology development. Look at our progress. From first flight to landing on our moon took 66 years. From first computer to artificial intelligence took 70 years. From nuclear fission to fusion power took 80 years. We do not just innovate. We speed up our innovation. This still does not explain your current military power, Vexthar insisted. Actually, it does. When we detected your empire 40 years ago, long before you noticed us, we made a decision. We would prepare for first contact by assuming the worst. Every nation on Earth contributed to a secret military buildup. We converted asteroid mining into weapons production. We disguised military shipyards as civilian structures. We developed technology specifically designed to counter what we saw of your capabilities. You spied on us for 40 years? Vexthar's mouthparts clicked in anger. We observed you. There is a difference. And in that time, we learned everything about your empire. Your tactics favor overwhelming force and numbers. Your ships use energy weapons because they are efficient. Your military assumes conflicts will end quickly because no species has ever sustained a long war against you. Jack smiled. So, we built everything to counter that. Our ships use kinetic weapons because they are harder to defend against. Our armor is thick because we have the industrial capacity to make it thick. Our tactics emphasize adaptability because we have been fighting each other for thousands of years, and we can sustain a long war because Earth has more industrial capacity than a dozen of your core worlds combined. That is impossible, protested Administrator Kelmar. Your single planet cannot outproduce our empire. Cannot it? Jack pulled up economic data. Earth has 8 billion people. Our industrial base was built through centuries of competition between different nations, all trying to outproduce each other. We have automated manufacturing running constantly. We have resource extraction on hundreds of moons and asteroids. We have a population conditioned by thousands of years of scarcity to work efficiently. He paused. But here is the thing, Chancellor. We do not want to outproduce you. We do not want to conquer your empire. We just want to be left alone to pursue our own path. And we wanted to make sure that when we made contact with galactic civilization, we did it from a position of strength. So this entire war was a demonstration? Vexthar asked. Not exactly. You declared war, we responded. But yes, we used the opportunity to make a point. Humanity is not going to be anyone's servant species. We are not going to bow to imperial authority. We are going to expand, explore, and develop on our own terms. And anyone who tries to stop us will face the full weight of a species that evolved by surviving the most dangerous planet in this sector. Seltora raised a graceful appendage. Ambassador Morrison, your position is clear. However, this creates a problem. The Galactic Order has been maintained for thousands of years through a system of authority. The Zorathian Empire provides security and stability. In exchange, Member species contribute resources and acknowledge imperial rule. If humanity refuses to participate, it sets a precedent that could destabilize everything. Then maybe the galaxy needs to be destabilized, Jack said bluntly. Your system works for species that evolved on gentle worlds, but you have created a civilization where strength means staying safe within boundaries. You have eliminated competition, eliminated conflict, eliminated the very things that drive innovation and progress. You want chaos? Kildar asked, shocked. I want freedom. Look, I understand why you built this system. After thousands of years of war, you wanted peace, but you achieved peace by forcing everyone to think the same way, to follow the same rules, to stop growing. Humanity rejects that. We will trade with you. We will share knowledge. We might even fight alongside you if there is a common threat. But we will not submit. Win. Vexthar stood. And if the Empire cannot accept these terms, Jack stood as well, meeting the Chancellor's gaze. Then we continue the war. And I promise you, Chancellor, you do not want that. What you have seen so far is us showing restraint. If you push us into true total war, we will show you what Deathworlders are really capable of. Is that a threat? It is a promise. Humanity has survived extinction events. We have survived global wars that killed billions. We have survived plagues and famines and environmental collapse. We know how to endure. We know how to rebuild. Can you say the same? Because if this war continues, we will make sure the Zorathian Empire learns what it means to fight an enemy that will not stop. The room fell silent. Every delegate understood. Humanity was offering peace, not from weakness, but from strength. They were giving the Empire a choice. Finally, Vexthar spoke. What exactly are you proposing? Jack pulled up a document. A recognition treaty. The Zorathian Empire acknowledges Terran control over current human territory and agrees not to interfere with future human expansion into unclaimed space. In exchange, humanity agrees to respect imperial borders, to trade fairly, and to provide military help if the Empire faces threats from outside. You would fight for the Empire? Vexthar asked skeptically. We would fight alongside the Empire against common enemies. There is a difference. We are not your servants, but we can be your allies. And trust me, Chancellor, you want humans as allies rather than enemies. Vexthar considered the proposal. Around the table, other delegates whispered, calculating how this would affect their own relationships. 3 months after the negotiations at Haven's Rest, the Treaty of Terran Sovereignty was signed. High Chancellor Vexthar and Ambassador Jack Morrison stood together before representatives of every major galactic power. Their signatures marked the end of humanity's brief but devastating war with the Zorathian Empire. But signing the treaty was just the beginning. Admiral Kate Sullivan stood on the bridge of the TCS Indomitable, watching construction crews work on the new border station. Officially called Outpost Liberty, the massive structure would serve as both a trade hub and military base. It was a physical symbol of humanity's new status in galactic affairs. Admiral, we are receiving a message from Zorathian Fleet Command. Her communications officer reported. Put it through. Commander Zarkoth's image appeared on screen. The Zorathian officer who had led the failed attack on Kepler 442 now served as the Empire's official contact for human military forces. Admiral Sullivan. Our joint patrol of the Sagittarius border is complete. No sign of void collective activity. Good to hear, Commander. Your people did solid work, as did yours. Zarkoth paused. I must admit, Admiral, when I was first assigned to work with humans, I had doubts. But your tactical skill is impressive. Kate smiled. High praise from you, Commander. I read the reports of your career before the war. You are one of the best fleet commanders the Empire has produced. I was, Zarkoth said quietly. Before I met humanity, I thought I understood warfare. Now I understand that I only knew one type of warfare. The Empire's way. You have taught us that there are other approaches, other strategies. We learned from you too. Your shield technology is years ahead of ours. We have added some of your principles to our latest ship designs. This sharing of knowledge, Zarkoth mused. It is unusual. In the Empire, we do not typically share military secrets with other species. That is because you always saw other species as either subjects or enemies. We see them as potential partners. Competition drives innovation, Commander. Having strong allies makes everyone stronger. The conversation ended. Kate turned her attention back to Outpost Liberty. It was strange how quickly things had changed. 6 months ago, humans and Zorathians were killing each other. What is love? That's not round. What is love? Now they conducted joint patrols and shared technology, but that was humanity's gift. The ability to adapt, to change, to turn enemies into allies when it served their interests. On Earth, President Linda Hayes addressed the Terran Congress. The topic was humanity's future in the galaxy. The chamber was packed with representatives from every nation and colony. The Treaty of Terran Sovereignty represents a turning point in human history, Hayes began. For the first time, we are recognized as equals by the dominant power in our region of space. But with this recognition comes responsibility. She pulled up a star map showing human territory. A small cluster of systems compared to the vast Zorathian Empire. We are still a minor power by galactic standards. Our population is smaller. Our territory is limited. But we have something many galactic civilizations have lost. The drive to expand, to explore, to push beyond our current limits. Some have argued that we should slow our expansion, that we should focus on what we have. I reject that approach. Humanity has never thrived by standing still. We thrive through growth, through challenge, through constantly testing our limits. She gestured to another section of the map, showing unclaimed space beyond both human and Zorathian territory. There are thousands of habitable worlds out there, unclaimed by any major power. There are resources beyond measure. There are mysteries waiting to be solved. And there are threats we are only beginning to understand. The Void Collective, the machine intelligences, the anomalies in the galactic core. These are challenges the Empire has been avoiding for centuries. Humanity will not avoid them. The chamber erupted in applause. We will continue to expand, Hayes continued once the noise died down. We will establish new colonies. We will build new fleets. We will push the boundaries of science and technology. And we will do it while maintaining our independence, our freedom, and our humanity. In the audience, Colonel Steve Parker listened and thought about his own role. As commander of Terran Special Operations, he had been responsible for many covert operations that helped win the war. Now his mission was changing. Instead of infiltrating enemy bases, his teams would explore unknown space. Instead of sabotaging Imperial shipyards, they would investigate ancient ruins and mysterious signals. The skills were the same, but the purpose was different. After the speech, Steve met with his team in a secure room beneath the Capitol. "All right, people, listen up," he began. "We have new orders. The exploration vessel Pioneer is heading into the Perseus Arm to investigate unusual energy signatures. Our job is to provide security and conduct initial reconnaissance of any potentially hostile situations." "Are we expecting trouble?" asked Sergeant Amy Chen, his second in command. "We always expect trouble. It is what we do. But now we are not sneaking around enemy territory. We are heading into completely unknown space. No maps, no intelligence, no idea what we will find. Just the way I like it," grinned Corporal Ryan Mitchell. Steve smiled despite himself. That was the thing about humans. Give them an impossible challenge, and they got excited rather than afraid. The Pioneer leaves in 2 weeks. Make sure your equipment is ready. And remember, out there, we are not just representing Earth. We are representing humanity to whatever we might find. Let us make a good impression. Across the galaxy, in the Imperial Palace on Zorath Prime, High Chancellor Vexthar met with his closest advisors to discuss the changing political situation. The smaller species are becoming restless, Administrator Kelmar reported. The Centauri Alliance has requested revision of their tribute agreements. The Delphinian Collective is asking for greater independence in their sector. Even some of our oldest client states are questioning their membership terms. They see humanity's independence and want the same, Vexthar observed. Exactly. The human example has destabilized the traditional order. If we are not careful, we could face widespread rebellion, or, suggested military advisor Kex Ron, we could adapt. The humans have shown us that the old model is not the only way to organize galactic civilization. Perhaps it is time we considered a more flexible approach. Vexthar was silent for a long moment. The idea of fundamentally restructuring the empire went against everything he had been taught, but he was pragmatic enough to recognize reality. The old order was breaking down. Humanity had proven it was possible to stand against the Empire and win. If the Zorathian Empire wanted to survive, it needed to change. Draft a proposal, he said finally. A new framework for imperial governance that allows greater independence while maintaining security and stability. We will present it at the next Galactic Council meeting. The hardliners will oppose any change. Kelmar warned. Let them oppose. The alternative is watching the Empire slowly collapse. As more species follow humanity's example, we must evolve, or become irrelevant. 6 months after the war ended, the first joint human-Zorathian scientific expedition departed for the Galactic Rim. The mission, led by Dr. Helen Rodriguez of Earth and Chief Researcher Pelmax of Zorath, aimed to investigate ancient structures that predated both civilizations. On the bridge of the research vessel Discovery, Helen reviewed sensor data with excitement and concern. These structures are at least 50,000 years old, she said. Possibly much older. Whatever civilization built them was far more advanced than anything we have seen. The question is, what happened to them? Pelmax mused. A civilization capable of such construction should have spread across the galaxy. Yet we find only ruins. Maybe they are still out there, suggested Lieutenant Commander Paul Jensen, the expedition's military contact. Just because we have not found them does not mean they are gone. Or maybe they found something that destroyed them, Helen said quietly. The galaxy is old. We are newcomers. There could be threats we do not even have words for yet. Which is why we explore, Pelmax said. To understand. To prepare. To ensure our civilizations do not suffer the same fate. It was a sobering thought, but also exciting. For the first time in galactic history, 2 major powers were working together out of genuine shared interest. Humans brought innovative thinking and adaptability. Zorathians brought vast knowledge and resources. Together, they might accomplish things neither could achieve alone. Back on Earth, in a small apartment in New Chicago, former Ambassador Jack Morrison sat with his family, watching news reports of humanity's expanding presence. His daughter, 7-year-old Emma, asked a question many people had. Dad, are the aliens our friends now? Jack considered carefully. Some of them, yes. Others might still be suspicious. And some we have not met yet. But that is okay. We do not need everyone to like us. We just need them to respect us. Because we are strong, because we are human. We survived when our planet tried to kill us. We thrived when we should have gone extinct. We reached the stars when it should have been impossible. And now we are showing the galaxy that there is more than one way to build a civilization. Emma thought about this. I want to go to space someday. 1 year after the Treaty of Terran Sovereignty was signed, the galaxy looked very different. Human colonies dotted the star maps in regions that had been empty for thousands of years. Trade routes connected Earth to dozens of alien civilizations. And most surprisingly, the Zorathian Empire was changing from within. Commander Zarkoth stood in the war room of the newly built Joint Operations Center, a facility staffed by both humans and Zorathians. The walls displayed tactical information from across 2 sectors of space. Next to him, Admiral Kate Sullivan studied the same displays with a practiced eye. "The Void Collective is moving again," Zarkoth said, pointing to a cluster of red markers on the holographic map. "Our intelligence suggests they are massing forces near the outer rim." "How many ships?" Kate asked. "At least 5,000. Possibly more. They move through dark space, making accurate counts difficult." Kate frowned. The Void Collective was one of the galaxy's great mysteries. A civilization that refused all contact, attacked without warning, and seemed to want nothing but destruction. For centuries, the Zorathian Empire had maintained a defensive perimeter to keep them contained. It had worked, but barely. "We need to increase patrols," Kate said. "I will assign 3 battle groups to support your fleet in that sector." "The Empire appreciates the assistance," Zarkoth replied formally. Then, he relaxed slightly. "I still find it strange, Admiral. A year ago, we were enemies. Now we coordinate military operations as if we have always been allies." "War has a way of clarifying things," Kate said. "We both realized we had bigger problems than each other. Besides, working together makes both of us stronger. The human philosophy of mutual benefit." Zarkoth mused. "It is foreign to imperial thinking, but I am beginning to see its value." Scatter du 4. C-100 Tomb. On the human colony world of New Horizon, Colonel Steve Parker and his special operations team prepared for their latest mission. They stood in the briefing room of their forward base, reviewing information that had been sent from the research vessel Discovery. "Dr. Rodriguez and her team have made a significant discovery," Steve explained to his people. "They found an intact facility on a planet in the Perseus Arm. The structure is old, maybe 100,000 years, and it is still functional." "What kind of facility?" asked Sergeant Amy Chen. "That is what we need to find out. The initial scans show massive power generation, active computer systems, and what might be defensive weapons. The science team wants to go inside, but they need us to make sure it is safe first." Corporal Ryan Mitchell grinned. "So we get to be the first ones to explore an ancient alien base. Sounds like fun." "It sounds dangerous," Steve corrected. "We have no idea who built this place or why. We do not know if the automated defenses will recognize us as threats, and we definitely do not know what we might wake up if we start poking around." "But we are going to poke around anyway," Amy said. It was not a question. "Of course we are. That is what humans do. We see something unknown, and we have to investigate. Just be smart about it. Remember, we are representing our species here. Whatever built that facility might still be around, watching. Let us show them that humans are curious, brave, and intelligent." The team departed 2 days later aboard a fast courier ship. As they traveled through the streaking lights of faster-than-light space, Steve thought about how much had changed. A year ago, his missions involved sneaking into enemy territory and causing chaos. Now, he was exploring ancient mysteries alongside alien scientists. It was strange, but he had to admit it was more interesting. In the Galactic Council chambers, Ambassador Jack Morrison sat among representatives of 50 different civilizations. The chamber had been reorganized in the past year. Instead of the Zorathian Empire dictating terms from a position of authority, the layout now reflected a more equal arrangement. High Chancellor Vex Thar stood to address the assembly. "The Empire has completed its review of tributary agreements. We propose a new system. Member species will maintain their own military forces and govern their internal affairs independently. In exchange for imperial protection and access to trade networks, they will contribute resources on a voluntary basis, rather than mandatory tribute." The chamber erupted in discussion. Several smaller species looked shocked. The idea of the Zorathian Empire voluntarily giving up direct control was unprecedented. Ambassador Kildar of the Vrexian Consortium spoke up. What prompted this dramatic change in policy? However, Vex's Thar's mandibles clicked in what Jack had learned was a gesture of acknowledgement. Humanity prompted it. When humans refused to submit to imperial authority, we had two choices. We could fight a war we might not win, or we could reconsider our assumptions about how galactic civilization should be organized. We chose the latter. The Empire is not surrendering its position, Vexthar continued. We are adapting it. We will still provide security against external threats. We will still maintain the largest fleet in known space. But we recognize that forcing species into submission creates resentment and instability. Cooperation creates strength. Jack listened with satisfaction. The changes were exactly what humanity had hoped for. A galaxy where different civilizations could coexist as partners rather than masters and servants. It would not be perfect, but it was better than what came before. After the session, Vexthar approached Jack privately. You must be pleased, Ambassador. The galaxy is reshaping itself according to human principles. Not just human principles, Jack replied. Every civilization in this room has something to contribute. We just had to create a system that allowed those contributions to matter. You are diplomatic, Vexthar observed. But we both know the truth. Humanity forced this change through strength. You won a war we thought was unwinnable. We won because we had to, Jack said. And because we were willing to do whatever it took to remain free. But now that the fighting is over, we can build something better together. Far from the political discussions, on the research vessel Discovery, Dr. Helen Rodriguez stood before the ancient facility they had discovered. The structure rose from the barren planet's surface like a mountain, its surface covered in symbols and patterns that hurt to look at too long. The power signatures are incredible, she told her colleague, Chief Researcher Pelmax. Whatever technology they used makes our fusion reactors look like campfires. The question remains, Pelmax said. What was this facility designed to do? Colonel Steve Parker and his team had spent 2 days mapping the exterior and checking for threats. They had found none, which somehow made Steve more nervous rather than less. We are as ready as we will ever be, Steve reported. The entrance appears inactive. No defensive systems have responded to our presence. We can proceed with the exploration. No. Helen took a deep breath. Then let us go see what secrets our predecessors left behind. The team entered through a massive doorway that dilated open at their approach. Inside, the facility was pristine. No dust, no decay, no sign of age. Lights activated as they walked, illuminating corridors that stretched into the distance. The air is breathable, Amy reported, checking her sensors. Oxygen-nitrogen mix. Similar to Earth standard. Temperature. Comfortable. It is like the place was expecting visitors. They moved deeper into the structure, passing rooms filled with equipment they could not begin to understand. Finally, they reached what appeared to be a central chamber. In the middle of the room stood a holographic display that activated as they entered. Images appeared, showing a species they had never seen before. Tall, graceful beings with features that seemed to shift and change. And around them, a civilization that spanned thousands of worlds. A message, Pelmax breathed. They left a message. The hologram cycled through images of the civilization's history. Their rise to power. Their exploration of the galaxy. Their discovery of something terrible, lurking in the dark spaces between stars. And their war against that terrible thing. A war they lost. The final images showed the civilization preparing for extinction. But instead of despair, they showed determination. They built facilities, like this one. They filled them with knowledge, with warnings, with tools that future civilizations might use. Then the hologram changed. It focused on the team standing in the chamber. And a voice spoke in a language that should have been incomprehensible, but somehow made sense. You who come after us, be warned. The darkness that destroyed us still exists. It waits in the void between galaxies, patient and eternal. It will return. When it does, You must be ready. We leave you our knowledge, our technology, our final gift. Use it to survive where we failed." The hologram faded. The team stood in silence, processing what they had seen. "We need to report this immediately," Steve said quietly. "The council needs to know." Helen nodded, but she was already thinking ahead. A threat that had destroyed a civilization far more advanced than anything currently in the galaxy. Humanity had fought to remain free from the Zorathian Empire. They had won that fight. But now, they faced a larger question. Could they help the galaxy survive something that had defeated their predecessors? Back on Earth, President Linda Hayes received the report from the Perseus Arm. She sat in her office, reading the transcripts of what the exploration team had found. The implications were staggering. She called an emergency meeting of her cabinet. Military leaders, scientists, diplomats, all gathered to discuss the discovery. "We need to share this information with the Galactic Council," said Secretary of Defense Alan Cooper. "This affects everyone." "Agreed," Hayes replied. "But we also need to be careful about how we present it. The last thing we want is galaxy-wide panic. The ancient facility contains technology we can barely comprehend," added science advisor Patricia Moore. "If we can understand even a fraction of it, we could advance human technology by centuries, but we should not keep it for ourselves. This knowledge should be shared." Hayes nodded. "I will speak with Ambassador Morrison. We will present the findings to the Council together with the Zorathian Empire. This discovery proves that cooperation is not just beneficial, it may be necessary for survival." In the months that followed, everything changed again. The ancient facility yielded secrets that transformed galactic technology. Human and Zorathian scientists worked alongside researchers from dozens of other species, unlocking knowledge that had been waiting for 100,000 years. Defense networks were strengthened. New weapons were developed. Ships were built using principles the ancient civilization had left behind. And all of it was shared freely among the allied species. The Void Collective noticed the increased activity. Their probing attacks became more frequent, more aggressive. But now, instead of facing a divided galaxy, they encountered a united front. Humans, Zorathians, Delphinins, Centauri, and dozens of other species fought together. Admiral Kate Sullivan commanded the joint fleet that met the Void Collective's largest offensive. 5,000 enemy ships faced 10,000 allied vessels. The battle lasted 3 days and ended with the Void Collective retreating back into dark space. "They will return," Zarkoth observed as they surveyed the aftermath. "Let them," Kate replied. "We will be ready. And next time, we will be even stronger." On Earth, Jack Morrison stood with his daughter Emma, now 8 years old. They watched the stars from their apartment window. "Dad, will the bad things from the dark ever come?" Emma asked. Jack considered lying, telling her everything would be fine. But humans had survived by facing hard truths, not avoiding them. "Maybe," he said honestly. "But if they do, we will face them together. Humans, Zorathians, and every other species that wants to survive. That is what makes us strong. Not just our weapons or our technology, but our ability to work together when it matters." "Are you scared?" "Sometimes," Jack admitted. "But I am also hopeful. Because I have seen what we can accomplish when we stop fighting each other and face our real challenges together." Emma thought about this. "I still want to go to space," Jack smiled. "Good. Because your generation will need to be out there, exploring, learning, preparing. The galaxy needs humans who are not afraid of the unknown." The Galactic Empire had declared war on humanity, expecting quick victory. What they got instead was a partner that changed everything. The galaxy was no longer a place of rigid hierarchy and forced submission. It had become something better. A community of different species working together, learning from each other, preparing for whatever challenges the universe might throw at them. And leading that community, showing through example rather than force, was humanity. The species from the Deathworld that refused to submit. The species that turned enemies into allies. The species that looked at the darkness and smiled back. The age of human expansion had become the age of galactic cooperation, and the future, though uncertain, was brighter than it had ever been. Jack smiled and touched her hair gently. You will, sweetheart. Your generation will inherit a galaxy full of opportunities. You will see things and go places I can only imagine. And you will do it because people like you, who are not afraid to dream big and work hard, are what make humanity special. As the sun set over New Chicago, casting long shadows across the rebuilt city, Jack reflected on how far humanity had come, from a single world to a multi-system civilization, from primitive explorers to a recognized galactic power, from victims of imperial decree to architects of their own destiny. The Galactic Empire had declared war, expecting easy victory over a primitive Deathworld species. What they got instead was a lesson in why humans had survived against impossible odds. The age of human expansion had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. I need time to consult with the Imperial Council, Vexthar said. Take all the time you need, Jack replied. But remember something. Every day you delay is another day that humanity continues to expand, to build, to prepare. We are offering you peace today on reasonable terms. Tomorrow, we will be stronger, and our terms might not be as generous. The session ended with more questions than answers. But as Jack left, he felt hopeful. Humanity had achieved what they needed. They had announced themselves to the galaxy, not as victims, but as equals. The age of human expansion had begun. So when you declared war, you were not fighting another space civilization. You were fighting everything Earth taught us about survival. What happens now? Vexthar asked. Now we negotiate, Jack said. Real negotiations, between equals. And maybe we figure out how to exist together without killing each other. The transmission ended. Vexthar sat alone with his shattered certainty. The Zorathian Empire had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years. Undefeated. Until it met humanity. You are not leaving until we finish talking, Lisa continued. So let us talk about what happens next. You can surrender now, or you can watch your fleet die. Choose quickly, Commander. Zarkoth looked at his display. 3,000 ships when he arrived. Now barely 2,000 remained functional. The human fleet had lost less than 100 ships. For the first time in his career, Commander Zarkoth understood what it meant to face a species from a death world. He opened a channel to High Chancellor Vexthar. This war was already lost. As Jack left the council chamber, alarms started blaring throughout the station. Reports were flooding in from every corner of the Empire. The humans were not just defending themselves. They were attacking. Vexthar sank into his seat, his confidence shattered. The Zorathian Empire had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years without challenge. That era had just ended, and it had ended because they made one simple mistake. They thought humans were just another primitive species. They thought wrong.